guessed it, today is install day for the rear backup camera for this. So, first things first, we need to remove the license plate. Alright, now that you've got the license plate off, you're going to open the trunk and you're going to remove the interior panel on the trunk. I already did this. I've had it off of the car for a little while now. Ever since I did my radar laser jammer install, I just haven't had a chance to put it back on, and figured since I was doing the backup camera, I would leave it off. So, to remove this particular piece, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 clips on the bottom. There are the clips right there. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 clips on the top. So, those are the 4 bottom ones. 4 top ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. After you remove those, I recommend using a trim tool, but if you don't happen to have one, just use a flathead screwdriver, but it does take some patience. After removing that, there's also this little emergency handle piece, just in case you happen to get locked in the trunk. You can actually pull this down and it releases the trunk. So this part is here, and it's held on by this little metal piece here, so it kind of wraps inside of there. So what you want to do is unhook that as well, and then from there there's also another clip inside the handles, one on each side. Once you undo all of that stuff, you just kind of tug on it and it kind of pops right out. So now that we have that piece out, you want to get yourself a light. I've put it here in the trunk, that way we can see what we're doing. Next, this white piece needs to be removed, that way we have access to the trunk handle. Little metal clip here, tug on it a little bit, it comes right out. This is the clip that holds the little emergency release wire. From there, you just kind of got to tug on this a little bit. Just be careful. And it comes right out. So the next part's a little bit tricky, and it's gonna be really hard to film since I can't really get the camera up in there. I can barely get my hand in there actually, but looking on the outside, if you look at the trunk release, there we go. There should be a small plastic clip. I think there's 2, one there and one there, and then same on the bottom. One there and one there. So what you're gonna wanna do is stick your hand in from the back side and kind of feel around on that clip. It's plastic, so you just gotta be a little bit careful. Let's see, it's already moving a little bit. Let's see. All I'm doing is pushing down. Got that one side. I'm gonna switch hands. There we go. So there's 2 clips there, and 2 on the bottom. Should be able to grab it from the outside now. Pull it out. Just be very careful, there's still a wire connected here. So we're gonna disconnect that. Just make sure you don't close the trunk when you disconnect this wire, because that little wire right there controls the mechanism. Hear that? Once you push on the trunk button, it opens the latch. So go ahead and unhook that one now. So disconnecting that wire right there is a little bit difficult, so what I recommend doing is actually removing that from the actual handle. So if you look here, it was held in by these little clips, 1, 2, and then this middle one here. So if you kind of move those out of the way, that entire piece comes out, and then now we can disconnect. To disconnect, you can't just tug on it.
unfortunately. I've already kind of disconnected it here for you, but what I did was I jammed a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, between right in that little space and kind of pushed it up a little bit and it came right out. So there's this little nub right here where my fingernail is. That nub fits through that hole. So here's a comparison of the stock handle. By the way, I put that little piece back in just so I don't lose it after I unplugged it. This is the stock handle, and this is the BimmerTech handle. You can see it's very, very similar, and it should just pop right back into place. The camera's there on the left side, so we'll go ahead and put that back in place. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug that OEM piece back into this. OEM plug goes in there. Alright, so I plugged that back in. Very OEM feeling, which is really nice. I always really like dealing with high quality stuff here. So next thing, we don't really have much room here because of this license plate bracket, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that, and then we should be able to reinstall the handle. So I've already fed the wires through the hole, so we will remove this now. Okay, now that you've gotten the license plate holder off, go ahead and get yourself a nice microfiber cloth just to protect this little area of the trunk. Since we are playing around here, we don't want to run the risk of scratching the paint. While this is off, I also decided to clean around the hole here. It does collect a lot of dirt, so I figured while the handle's off, now's the time to take the time to clean it. So next you're going to want to run the wires through, and we should be able to just pop this back into place. I'm going to try to do this one-handed here, so bear with me. Make sure the wires are tucked in there. Oh, you also should probably test the button, make sure everything works before we put this back in. So sure enough, it does work, so that's great. Now you're just going to do the exact same thing as the install, just backwards. So when reinstalling, it's easier to tuck the back side, the bottom side in first, closest to the trunk, and then it should pop right back into place. There you have it. Make sure the rubber is all the way around. The rubber seal just keeps all the elements out of the trunk. And there you have it. So that part is now installed.